So I'm going to start with a quote that was actually given to me by B. Westcott Curl, and she got it from one of her teachers. It's by Yogananda, and it says, "Although you find glimpses of the divine, don't be satisfied. Go deeper within, and you will sit at the brink of eternity, facing God." And to me, that's oneness. And how do we get there? How do we do that when we are on a plane where we all look very separate? We look separate, by our height, our weight, the color of our hair, the color of our skin, how we vote, who we choose to love, where we choose to go to church. It all looks separate, doesn't it? All of it looks separate. And yet we are all part of that one. Each and every one of us birthed from that whole. Each and every one of us unique manifestations of the one. So how do we get from looking and feeling like we're separate to acting as if the truth is the truth, that we are one? And some of that is realizing, or all of it really is realizing, you are always at choice. And yesterday for me was a really, really good example. So Susan Hall and I decided to go and do the Viaduct Tunnel Walk. And we didn't have a big plan. We bought tickets online, and they were different hours. We had different hours we were supposed to be there. It said I was supposed to walk the viaduct at 6 o'clock at night. I knew that wasn't going to happen. So we get off the link and we're walking, and as we got to where the link was going to take us to the north end so we could walk through the tunnel, I looked down the road and there were buses for as long as you could see. It was amazing how planned this was. So we got on the bus and we actually got to ride through the tunnel to the other end, and then we decided we were going to walk the viaduct. And this is where everybody's perception is different. So we got to the entrance of the Battery Street Tunnel, and they had all of these men and women, Seattle police officers, in their black dress. They were bicycle policemen, so they were all dressed in black and with their helmets on. And they were all standing there, and we're standing there, and you can watch people's different reactions, because evidently we were supposed to be able to start to walk the viaduct. Maybe it was supposed to be 12:30. I don't know. Maybe it was supposed to be 12 o'clock. My ticket, remember, was 6 o'clock, so I didn't care. I was going to be early, right? And to watch some people, they're sitting there. Now, remember, this is the same experience for all of us, right? We're all standing waiting. We have police officers in front of us that are stopping us. And some people are laughing and talking and getting to know people around them, and they're eating sandwiches and they're having a good time. And others are like, excuse me, sir, when are you going to get out of the way? Literally, some woman said this to the sergeant. When are you going to get out of the way? And I thought, wow, that could have been me 15 years ago. Hate to own that, and it's true. So she had a different perception. She had a timetable. She had an idea of when she was supposed to begin to walk. Now here's the interesting thing. I had a perception about her, did I not? And a perception about everybody else that was talking and having fun. That is what keeps us separate, is our perception. There was nothing wrong with the way that woman behaved if that's how she wanted to behave. That's her choice. She didn't hurt anybody. She certainly didn't hurt the police officer's feelings. He didn't care. He was very polite because they're trained to be polite. Yes, ma'am, I understand that you'd like to start to walk, and we can't move out of the way until we're told by the planners that you can walk the viaduct. Very polite. So how do we start to see each other and understand that when somebody is not behaving or saying or being the way I think they should be, that it's okay. How do you get there? That it's okay. So this morning, good example. Somebody brought in cans. Meditation had actually started. I didn't have my eyes closed because we weren't to that part of the meditation. They brought in cans and they started to put them over here, and I panicked because these cans have been counted. And this is a competition, remember? These cans have not been counted. So I was like, no, don't put them over there. Now see, had I been in my body and not worried, I could have just left my eyes open, noticed where this person put the cans, and then after the meditation, got up and easily picked them up and put them over here. However, I got very human in that moment. Oh my God, the can counting is going to be messed up. I know, it's fingernail biting time. And yet, I hope I'm not the only one, how many of you have noticed when you, quote unquote, overreact to a situation that thank you, one hand shot up right away. Yeah, right? We overreact to a situation because, I don't know why, because we're human. Because we're human and we forget that inside this human body, there is a divine being that's like, take a breath. The world is not going to turn upside down if you miscount a couple cans. Right? They're cans. They're feeding the homeless. That's the biggest thing. That is the biggest thing. And oh my God, thank you, God, for all of you people who have brought in all of these cans. It doesn't matter. We'll know next week. Keep our fingers crossed. Because, yeah, it would be fun to be repeat champions. And if we don't, we have still served people that are hungry. And so that is the most important part of this. And so it really is one of the ways, and it's interesting that we're talking about oneness on Super Bowl Sunday. Right? Because it doesn't look like a lot of oneness. And let's face it, sports, it's its own religion. It's a religion I practice. Not all sports. However, anybody else out there practice the religion of sports? Got their favorite team, have their favorite food they're going to eat today, hang out with friends or not. Maybe you're going to go to a bar. Who knows? Maybe you don't care because your team's not in the Super Bowl. It is a religion. If you have ever been to a sporting event, and if in Seattle, be it the Seahawks or the Mariners, or if you've been to the Huskies basketball game recently, it's a religion. People plan around it. They plan their meals around it. They plan their transportation around it. And so to remember, sports is a good analogy for our life. Any sporting event, especially in a team sport, you have to play like a team. If you don't play like a team, you're probably not going to win the game. Even in baseball. Even in baseball, you have to play like a team. Tennis, not so much. It's a one-man sport. And yet, there are good analogies in life when you watch people play different sports. I think it might have been a Ram, could have been a Saint, who made a touchdown. And now they've gotten back into the dances and the celebrations, right? And what he did was he acted like he'd been there. He made the touchdown. He set the ball down. He didn't turn it. He just set it down on the ground, stood up, and turned and walked over like, next play, please. What if it was more about, our life was more about being in that sense of it doesn't have to be a competition. It doesn't have to be a competition. And how many things nowadays are sold as competition? And yes, there are sporting events that are competitions. And yet every year those same teams get to try again, don't they? Every year. And so how do we as humans live in that place of knowing that I can set my goals? I can have a vision of what Genesis looks like. And I'm not in competition with any other CSL organization. I'm not in competition with any other religion out there. That every single one of us is here to live our divine purpose. Right? To live our divine purpose. Not in competition with someone else. Because each one of us is here, I believe. Each one of us is here, and we have a purpose. And there's a part of us in us that knows that purpose. And that purpose could be the job that you have right now. And maybe you're thinking, yeah, but I don't like being an accountant. Well, then maybe that's not your purpose. However, if you love being an accountant and you think, well, how could that be a purpose? You're serving people who don't know anything about accounting, right? You're serving people who numbers might not be their thing. And if you go in there with your heart open and you're compassionate because that's how you've decided to be in the world, then everybody's, let's say taxes that you touch, that compassion is going to be felt. That's going to go out into the world. And so think about what you do. We have somebody in here who is an airline stewardess. Think how many people she touches with her consciousness. By how she shows up and is when she is serving other people on that airplane. We forget. That's a purpose. She is taking her higher self and she is serving mankind. You know, and I can't imagine, because talk about different behaviors on an airplane. Have we not seen them? You know, that's angel wings for those people that decide to serve us on planes. Including me. If the plane does one of these, oh, trust me. I'm not happy. I'm a happy flyer as long as it's smooth sailing from when I take off to my destination. However, if the plane starts to do one of these because you're landing in Seattle and it's raining hard and it's cloudy and you can see thunder and lightning, I start to freak out a little bit. Now just imagine if your purpose in life was to make sure that I was comfortable, that I remained kind of calm. You know, God bless those people. Think about all the people that either are bringing their compassionate selves to their jobs or not. Look at the different opportunities at grocery stores. And then think about you and what you do. What do you do in the world? What is your quote-unquote job? And can you, even if it is like, yeah, this is, you know, I used to work in telecommunications. And I will tell you, I was that person that was boringly happy. I had an incident, well, not an incident, it's a funny, we're really good friends. I was a second level manager, and a woman that reported to me walked in, and I worked in the World Trade Center. Cold, cold, cold in New York. It's wintertime. She is bundled up in mucklucks and a big jacket, and you can't see her face because it's all covered up. And she's got her coffee cup, and she's walking to the door to unlock it to go into the office building because all of the offices were locked. And I come walking up, hey, how's it going? Have you ever done that to a not morning person? I'm not going to repeat what she said because it's not Sunday worthy. However, let's just say it became very clear to me not everybody is happy all the time. And I'm not saying I'm happy all the time. However, I have a pretty high level of happiness. And so for me to take that wherever I go, right? to take that wherever I go. So instead of looking at what's your job, look at who you are. How do you show up and be the best you, regardless of what you do for a living? People get so caught up in, I'm not living my life's purpose. Yes, you are. You're here. And your purpose is probably just like that song. Remember, we're one. Remember that the more we love and support each other, the more our life becomes easier. That we can all, every single one of us, we could choose, bless you, bless you, bless you. Every single one of us could choose to not be in community on Sunday. And yet there is power in the connection, even if it's just energetic, even if you don't say good morning to everybody here, even if you don't even know everybody here. There is a power sitting in this energy and feeling the purpose of everybody around you. And that would be the purpose of compassion and love and everything that we say we are as a community. We are a community founded on unconditional love. So be that. And I am talking more to myself than I am I'm talking to all of you too. However, there are different areas in our life where we have opportunity growth. Today, mine will be watching football. And I will tell you something funny about how many of you watch football or know about football. Or let me go this way. How many of you don't know anything about football? Okay. So here's the interesting thing about football, just for you non-believers. And I mean that kindly. No judgment, just you non-believers. I did say earlier it was a religion. When a person is yelling at the TV, they're yelling at their own team. And I didn't realize how odd that would be to somebody who didn't understand football. Until when I was living in Santa Fe, and Yvette Trujillo and Belinda Hosher were living in Santa Fe also, and in fact, that's where I met them. We became very, very good friends, and they came over for a Super Bowl Sunday party at my house. And Yvette is out, she non-football. Nothing about her says I even want to watch this. So she's out making tortillas in my kitchen, and I'm yelling at the TV. And she came to the door and she said, "Gayle, what are you doing?" And I said, "What do you mean, what I mean?" "You're yelling at your own team." And I said, "Well, why would I yell at the other team?" "I don't care about the other team." But those things of how we behave. How we behave. See, I could have used a car and I didn't. I used football. But how we behave, it's where we get to spiritually grow. Now for me, don't know that my attitude will ever change when I watch football. And I have to own that and be okay with it. That's mine. I have said to people when I was in Santa Fe, because I didn't have any family in Santa Fe, and I would say to people, because we started the church in my house. So church would, start at 10, end about 11:30, and then we'd have a potluck, and then people would just hang. And it would get to be about 1 o'clock, which in Santa Fe was football time. And it would be like, "Okay, people, gotta go now." And you don't want to be rude, so what I would say to people is, here's the deal. I am going to start to watch football. When I'm watching football, I am not Reverend Gayle Dillon. I am Gayle Dillon, and I use truck driver language. So if that offends you, please don't watch football with me. 15 minutes, it will start. Most people went home. And that was fine. I was very clear. So there are parts of our personality, as long as we're good with it, don't let somebody talk you out of it. Right? Be you. When I was in Hawaii, there was a great t-shirt. Be you. Everybody else is taken. Everybody else is taken. And I love that. It's an opportunity to be you and to understand how vital you are to the fabric of humanity. Maybe that's the best way to put it. How vital each one of you are to the fabric of humanity. If you weren't vital, you wouldn't be here. Every single one of you is important. Every single one of you counts. Everything you do matters. And if you can remember that, I promise you, life will start to seem less like a challenge and more like The Game of Life. Have you read that book? The Game of Life by Shovel Shin. What first name? Anybody? Florence Show. Thank you, Heather. But this is an opportunity for us to really delve into every single day when you behave a certain way, to ask yourself, is that who I really want to be? Is that how I really want to show up? And I think for me, probably the reason this shows up more and more for me is because I'm working through the Course in Miracles. And the whole idea in A Course of Miracles is peeling back all of those layers of stuff we've told ourselves. Every single day, another little layer, taking it off and thinking, what if I just didn't see the world the way I thought it looked? Because remember, I'm seeing everything through the eyes I see from, which means the perception that I see from is based on all of my history, all of my stories, how people have treated me. That's how I see the world. What if I just decided, what if that is just how that person is? And if it bothers me, what is it about me that it bothers instead of what is it about them that needs to be fixed? So just an opportunity to think about how you look at the world, how you perceive yourself, and then how you perceive everyone around you, and what are you willing to give up, and what do you want to hang on to? Because it's your world and it's your choice. Nobody gets to decide for you. Nobody, at any time. So I'm going to read once again this quote by Yogananda, and then we'll pray. Although you find glimpses of the divine, don't be satisfied. Go deeper within, and you will sit at the brink of eternity, facing God. And remember, every person, place, and thing you see is divinely created. And so when I'm sitting at the brink and looking at the face of God, I'm looking at you. Mother, Father, God, Spirit, as we hold this space, this time in reverence, as we know the truth of who we are, that we are part of that magnificent whole. Every single one of us birthed into form, funny shapes, different colors. We are such a blessing. Every one of us uniquely placed here to live a life's purpose that is kind, compassionate, and loving. And so I know that all of that exists within me because I am part of the divine, and I know it exists in everyone here because they are part of the divine also. It is the truth of who each and every one of us are. Magnificent beyond our realm of what we call possibility. Imagine yourself living the fullest life ever. And then imagine there's more. Because that's the truth. That is what we're blessed with. This opportunity of ever increasing delight in our life. And so I know each one of us this week truly begins to just witness ourselves as we walk through life. Witness ourselves, witness our interactions, witness our thoughts, witness how we choose to be in the world. And then my hope is, and I know this for myself, that each one of us will decide, I'm going to up my game. Maybe a little, maybe a lot. I'm going to live my purpose out loud. I'm going to be bold. I'm going to be courageous. I know I'm worthy because I am God in form. And so I say thank you. Thank you for this time. Thank you for this knowing. Thank you for this vision of a world that truly works for everyone, everywhere. So knowing this is the truth, I turn all of these words over, knowing as it is spoken, it is done. In the mind of God, it's already manifested into form. We just call it forth before us. So we let go and let God, and together we say, and so it is. Amen.